everybody, it's your old pal Ron Howard from xTreme Sequences, bringing you Monday Minutes. Today, we're going to talk about replacing models and submodels. As you know, I'm pretty fanatical about working with submodel groups, and every now and then I find new ways to enhance a model or submodel groups, or just simply create new submodels that I want to add to that group. And then you're left thinking, well, how do I do that? Okay, Ron's got this new thing in the sequence. How do I get that? What do I have to do to replace my models? I've been using these for years, and then suddenly he's changed it. Well, it's not that hard, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. If we look at the screen, you're going to see that I have a Gilbert Engineering USA Dazzler, King's Ransom. I have the Space Odyssey, and then I have a Square Peg. And these have a lot of great submodels in them, but I wanted to elevate the submodel groups, thanks to Marion Cherry, and create some extra added delightment. And I really love the way these look. So you may have some of these models, or you may have other people's models, and maybe those people are updating their models, or maybe a sequencer will, and you want to have the same. You want to squeeze every ounce of goodness you can out of these models. I'm going to show you how to do that. But before I do, smash that thumbs up, because we sure appreciate it here. It helps those algorithms, and consider subscribing to the channel. Thanks. All right, let's get going. First of all, we have to look at, where do the models come from? Now, if you're getting sequences from me and you have the latest sequences, chances are those will have the latest submodels and submodel groups in them. You should also be able to find those same models in the downloads from xLights. So this little black triangle here, you click on this, you drag a box somewhere, and then you go search for it. And let me just put in here peg. Let's see what shows up. And there's Square Peg. This is 46-inch, 881 nodes. You should be able to download this, and this should have all the same models and submodels I have. But wait a minute. You already have the Square Peg. Why do you want to download it again? Well, you're going to need some reference that has the new submodels. So it might behoove you to maybe download this and put it somewhere else. Or if you have the sequencer sequence, there's no reason why you can't take a model like this Rosa Grande, right click, export xLights model, tell this to go to the desktop somewhere, and make sure you select all these submodel groups. Then you can export that, and then you can import that back in. Okay, that's certainly one way. What I have done is I've created a group, or I should say a folder, that has all of the newest versions of the Dazzler, King's Ransom, Space Odyssey, and Square Peg. And so I just put those in a folder. And they have all the submodels with them encapsulated. Okay, and now we're in this world, the world I've been using for years potentially, and I see my Dazzler, and I'm looking at the groups up here, and so outer rings, diamonds all, middle group, and it comes all the way down here and ends at sun group. And I know I've created 3 other submodel groups that should be here, but they don't exist because you haven't brought them in. And so I want to show you the easiest way to bring this in for the model's sake, and then another way on top of that to bring in the submodel groups. Because great, you bring in the submodels, now you got all these submodels, but there's no group. What are you going to do? You're going to go through each one of these and right click and say, create a group called this, and then misname it, and now nothing maps? No. Don't do that. Don't do that. Follow along. This is important. And this works across the board for anything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the Dazzler. And I am going to come down here to my submodels. And in the submodels, there's all the rings and arrows, petals, diamonds, you name it, spokes. But there are some new things that have been added to this. And because I told you I downloaded from xLights or exported from my latest layout into a folder called New Models, I can go to that folder and I can import those submodels into here. And that's as simple as clicking on this import button at the bottom left. And we have some choices here. We can import submodels from a model. So if you have a model already existing in your layout, you can import from that. But what's great is you can import submodels from a file, that X model. So that's the one I want to choose here. And then I'm going to go to my desktop, and we're going to see here that I have a folder called New Models. There's one called Old Models. New Models. I'm going to double click on here, and here's the Dazzler, gedazzler1.x model. Now, if I choose this model, which has the latest and greatest updates, I can bring those in. And you'll see here it opens up a box with all of these selected. Okay, fair enough. Feathers, but if we scroll down, what might we see near the bottom? So nice. Lickety split. Skeptic. Mushy. And something that shouldn't be there. Submodel 1. Don't bring that one in. Okay. If I click OK, it has now brought those models into this. We can click OK, or we can scroll down here and see them. Click OK. And if you want, if you don't believe me, you can click on the Dazzler, click the chevron there, scroll down the list, and you're going to see the new ones in there. But what we don't see are the submodel groups. Look, the GE Dazzler, it stops here at Sun Group. And what I don't want you to do is, I don't want you to do that either. I don't want you to click on this and have to look at the bottom of the chevron. I do not want you coming in here, clicking on the lickety splits, right-clicking, and creating a group from selections. No. You're going to screw this up, you're going to misname it, and nothing's going to map. What you can do very seamlessly is add my same model groups into here. And when you do that, all of the Dazzler submodels that belong to those groups are going to magically appear in there. Let's see if I can make that happen. Double click on the background of your layout. Right click on the background of your layout with nothing selected. Import previews, models, groups. The keyword here is we're importing groups. I click on the groups. Now what you have to do is you want to go to a show directory that already has these groups. And guess whose show directory that might be? Yeah, this guy. Anything that's from probably this year or certainly this Christmas show, if you get to my show directory, so if you have my sequences and you can get to my show directory, then we can help you create these submodel folders lickety split fast. Here we go. So mine happens to be on the desktop. Mine is Christmas 2023. And if you look in here, you scroll to the bottom, you're going to see that you have your choices for an RGB effects.xml. And if we select that XML, my show directory, and click open, look what we get. Very, very, very cool. We see we have some things that we can bring in, and what we want are all of the submodel groups that we don't have already in our show for the Dazzler. So I'm going to come down to the Dazzler and I'm going to click the new ones. There's the lickety split, the mushy, not petals, we already have that, skeptic. So any of these that you don't recognize, chances are for the Dazzler, that's what you want. Okay, there we go. So lickety split, mushy, skeptic, so nice. And that's it. I'll look at the bottom of the list. I don't think there's anything else. Very, very good. Now we are going to click OK. Let's see if that worked. So we're going to go up here to the Dazzler group. We know the Dazzler's in the Dazzler group. What about lickety split? There it is. This model, mushy GRP model. And then of course the petals, skeptic is there. We can open up the skeptic folder and look at all the submodels that belong to that group. they magically appear in there. xLights is so smart when you need it to be. And this is a wonderful way to demonstrate that. So let's do another one. Let's do King's Ransom. King's Ransom, if we look at the groups for King's Ransom, we're going to see that we have the main group and we have stragglers and spokes, but it stops at stragglers. Now I know I have other ones. So what am I going to do? I'm going to select the King's Ransom. There we go. Or I'm just... sometimes the 3D is just a pain, isn't it? Let's just go over here and find King's Ransom in the list. GE King Ransom. There we go. Don't ask me why. 3D will just do that sometimes. So what I'm going to do, I've selected the model, submodels. We want to import the new submodels from a file that we've downloaded. I've put it on the desktop. I've put it in a folder called New Models. It is the King Ransom one. I'm going to open that, and we're going to have a list of submodels to choose. We want to choose the ones that we don't recognize, or we could just bring them all in. They will just overwrite. We click OK. That's done. Say OK. We're back to this. Submodels are in place. We don't have the submodel groups. They don't exist because we have to go steal them from my show directory. Right click after you double click on the background, import previews, models, groups, go to the desktop, go to my show directory, scroll down to the RGBFX file, open that. Now we can bring in King's Ransom, and we're looking for the ones that we don't recognize. So for the King Ransom, here we go. We've got a few of them. That looks good. King Ransom, Diamonds, Duchess is new. The Duke is new. And is there another one? That may be it. The Duke, the Duchess, Duchess group, and I think that's it. Everything else is already in there. There we go, and we click OK. And now we go up here and we look for the King Ransom, and we're going to see that the new groups right here, Duchess, there's the Duchess, Duchess group, and then we should have one other in there wherever it may have gone. Duchess, yep. King Ransom, and the Duke. There's the Duke. Simple enough. All right. Let's do one that's a little more elaborate. We're going to click on the GE Space Odyssey, probably one of my favorite Gilbert Engineering USA models right now for the way it's playing back in my show. I just really love some of the submodels I've added in this. This is a must-have. Okay. So I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to my submodels. Again, I'm going to import from file. Going to go to the desktop. I'm going to go to my new folders, my new models. Open that. Odyssey. Open that. Bring in the new submodels, which is, I'm just going to bring everything in. I'm Brad, named after Brad Lunar. Jason walks. Well, that's a given. All right. And I don't feel so good. Don't know what. Don't ask me why I named it that, but I just did. And override submodels with the same names that already exist. You can do that. That should be fine. That part's done. We click OK. We come back over here, double click in the background. We now need the model groups. Right click, import group. Oh, no. I clicked the wrong one. Let's not do that. Cancel. Right click, import previews models groups. There we go. And we want to go to my world, which is on the desktop. My Christmas show directory. Oh, that is not my Christmas show directory, but this one is. Scroll down, RGBFX, open that. Find the groups that belong to the Odyssey that are new. These are alphabetical, so it makes it fairly easy. Space Odyssey. after shape. There we go. And this will have a few of these that you're not going to recognize. Make sure you look from the top because of the spellings, but most of these we should see is the Jason walks. I don't feel so good. I am Brad. And there's going to be a couple more, I think. Just scroll up until you see them. Oh, wait a minute. I went the wrong way. Large, I am Brad. Maybe that's, oh, triangle, spokes. Maybe that is it. Okay. I am Brad. Yeah, that's it. The 3. Click OK. And you'll see over here for the Space Odyssey, we have the new groups sitting down here at the bottom. Okay, so that's great. There's one more thing you have to do, and this is super important. You've seen my tutorials about creating views, whether you're creating a view for my sequences, someone else's sequences, any way you need to use these views. It's important because these new submodel groups that we've put in here with the new submodels, these do not automatically show up in display elements, which means when you go to map and they're not on the left side visible, when you map, they're not going to be able to go anywhere because there's nowhere to map them to. So this next part is critical. You have to create an animation sequence and pull these new groups into place. So I'm just going to simply click New Animation. I don't care about the frame rates, just click Done. Get to this section here where we have our Edit Display Elements. Now you can right click here or you can click this button right up here. It's the same thing. And if you look here in King's Ransom, those new model groups that we created, they're not in there, nor are they for the Odyssey. So when you go to map, you're going to miss out on mapping some of the newer sequence effects to these submodel groups because they don't exist in here. So you have to go in here, right click, Edit Display Elements, and you're going to see, look at all these over here. Here's the Lickety Split, the Dazzler, King's Ransom, and the Space Odyssey, the 3 that we did. They're sitting over here in no man's land. Well, we need those over here. So if you're using a view like I have here, main sequence view, make sure that is selected. You want to drag all of these over, and these will go at the bottom of the list. I've purposely put these at the bottom to make it simple. And all you have to do is drag these on top of the one underneath the last group for that model. I'm going to drop it right there. So now I've got my Dazzler Sun. Then it goes in the Lickety Split, Mushy, Skeptic, So Nice. Okay. We do the same thing with King's Ransom. We're going to grab these. We're going to find the last King's Ransom group. We're going to drag these over, set it right on top of Space Odyssey. That'll put that at the top, push the Space Odyssey beneath it. And then we'll do the last one here, which is Space Odyssey. We have 3 submodel groups here, and we're going to drag and drop this right on top of the diamond group, which will put it underneath the last known Odyssey group. When you have that done, just click Make Master. Okay. What I did is I made that master. So every time you begin the import process or create a new sequence, it's going to keep this hierarchy no matter what. So if you have other sequence vendors you work with and they have a different hierarchy, then you would have a view for them. And if you were going to map their sequence, you'd make sure you use their view, that you have the hierarchy in the order that they suggest, make that master, and then map their sequence. I hope that makes sense. I've done other videos on this. All right, so this is done. We can get out of here. By the way, there is no OK, there is no save. Once you hit Make Master, that's sort of done that. You have to X out of here. Unfortunately, still, you have to go to your layout and click Save. I don't know why this can't just be put on the other side, but we've made a change to the layout, so we're forced to go to the layout. The Save button is red. Make sure you click it. Don't lose your work. All right. Other than that, just make sure everything that's in the All Pixels group is in the All Pixels group that should be. These already are. If they're not in the All Pixels group, you can always select each of these, right click. You can go over here and tell this to Where we go, add to existing groups. And then you could select the all pixels group and make sure they go in there, just like that. One and done. I know there are several steps here, but I don't want folks doing this the hard way and having to create names of groups. You're going to mess things up. You're going to muck it up, and it's not going to work for you. So leverage the power of xLights to help you replace models, add models, replace submodel groups, and import submodels into groups, and create groups if they don't already exist. This will help you out. I promise you, it takes a little bit of practice. Slow the video down if you have to. I know some of you are probably playing my video at like 8 times the speed just to get through it. I get it, but slow that part down and practice it. It's always a good idea just to create a fake little world like I have here to practice these things, the sandbox, so that when you go back to your show and you actually do this, you'll feel a lot more comfortable and confident that you're not going to mess anything up. All right? That's all I've got for you. I'm Ron. This has been Monday Minutes. We'll catch you next time.